Welcome back to the Range Minded Podcast. I am frustrated because I have started this episode an uncountable amount of times. As I get at most 9 minutes into recording, my computer decides to say, F you, Steve, I don't like you. Or OBS software decides, F you, Steve, I don't like you. And shit freezes, and I can't record anymore. I am so frustrated right now.
Shut up, bitch!
Welcome back to the Range Minded Podcast. My name is Steve, and I do my best to share with you my passion, my love, my desire for all to be free. Right now, I'm passionate. So I'm going to do my best to stay focused on what I want to talk about and not explode and break something right now. So there's a couple things I want to talk about. I'm going to do my best to not talk about my problems because you guys don't need to hear my problems. That's not important. I got plenty of them. And you got plenty of your own too. And, that's kind of what I want to talk about. First of all, I want to jump in and talk about 3 separate incidents. 4, really. But 3 in general that really, really matter. That really point to society as a whole and hopefully make us change how we see the world around us. Okay? First and foremost, I gotta hurry in case this sumbitch freezes again. First and foremost, I want to talk about the Carmelo Anthony Austin Metcalf thing. Super quick. I'm not going to talk about what happened. I don't know. Excuse me. I don't know. You weren't there. I wasn't there. We've heard so much BS. Stuff from the left, stuff from the right. Just too much. Too much that clouds the waters and muddies the reality of the situation. And it's the reality of that situation that really helps us focus on who we need to be and what we need to be doing in our lives. So, brass tacks. They were at a track meet. It starts to rain. Carmelo goes into the tent of Austin Metcalf's school. They get into an altercation. Something happens to where it escalates to the point where Austin Metcalf takes a knife to the chest via Carmelo Anthony, who wasn't supposed to have a deadly weapon at a school activity, and definitely wasn't supposed to have one because I'm not going to speculate if he was in trouble or not. I've heard stories that he was, but I can't verify that, so that doesn't matter. Strike that from the record. Needless to say, Carmelo lost his self-defense court case, and he's going to prison. Why? Now, first of all, before I get into that, not first of all, but let's focus on one thing and one thing for sure. This has zero to do with the race of these two boys. Zero. So if that's your perspective on this case, you've already tipped your hand and lost. This case is about attitude and pompousness and having your feelings hurt to the point of making a terrible decision. That's what this is. If you want to jump down the race hole, this isn't the place for you. So you can just move along. Bye. But if you want to look at the reality of human nature, this is what I wanted to talk about. It got to the point where it was a pissing match of who was the bigger, better dude, and somebody lost their life, and somebody's going to prison over a tent and whose school belongs where. It's all about attitude. Bad attitudes, for that matter. Got it? Okay. Now, I want to jump to another scene. This happened a few years ago. This video, I'm going to try and remember to put this embedded as I'm talking over. But there's a video of an LDS missionary, a Mormon missionary in Louisiana, from what I remember. Now, this kid got a flat tire on his bike, and some dude decided to show up and absolutely verbally attack this kid. Vile, disgusting, just outrageous, over the top language against two kids that volunteered their time and spent their money to go teach the gospel that they believe in. This isn't about religion. If you think this is about a religious ideology, about a perspective of what they believe, you've lost the case, and this isn't the show for you. But if we're looking at human nature, then we will carry forward. Look at the two stark differences of these two stories. Austin Metcalf, Carmelo Anthony, they get in an argument. One's going to the ground, one's going to prison. Other side of the book, you got a young man who probably is healthy enough to handle himself, but chose not to. Chose the better path and walked away. Now, what's the difference? How does this apply to you and your daily life? How? Why would I have brought this up? Again, if you're looking at through the lens of racism, or if you're looking at through the lens of they're not Christian, I don't want you here. That doesn't matter. Move along. But if you're looking through the lens of self-defense and what society is moving towards, and what you should be doing, developing better skills, or walking away from a situation, that's the lens you need to be looking at this. You need to be walking with me in where my mind is going in the situations. Society is collapsing in the United States. And it's due to our leadership. Not just Donald Trump. Don't get me wrong here. Yeah, there's a lot of people that hate Donald Trump. 50% of the country, I would imagine. At least that's the number they're throwing out. Dislike Donald Trump to the point of they're using that as an excuse to be disorderly. There's so many other things that are being pressured on right now on the American families. So many more things. Fuel prices, grocery prices, just everything is going up. Electricity, everything. Everything is getting more expensive. And as that pressure increases, societal disruption follows right along. You're seeing it online everywhere. Here's a truth bomb for you. Yeah, I'm a Mormon. Yep, that's me. I'm a Christian. I don't care if you do think about whether I am or not. I believe that Jesus Christ died on the cross for my sins and was resurrected for my sins as an example of what we all can attain. We all don't have to be sacrificed on the cross. No. He did it for us. He paid for your sins and my sins. That's the Jesus I believe in. That makes me a Christian, I would think. No, I don't espouse to the creedal perspective of Christianity. Do I hate you if that's how you believe? No. No, I don't. That's great. You see, the beauty of America is we are free to worship how or where we may. But we're seeing this, and I do think this is an artificial pressure cooker that's being forced into the algorithm, at least on X. It's asinine. Absolutely asinine. I don't care what people believe. That's great. If you think my version of Christianity isn't for you, cool. That's great. Whatever. That's fine. But again, this isn't the issue. The issue is, why is society being pushed to tribalize, and then those tribes are being convinced to attack each other? That is the question. Boil that back down to your self-defense, to your protocols of how you are keeping yourself and your family safe. What are you doing to improve the safety perimeter around your family, around your children, around your homes, around your communities? If your attitude is to fall deeper into the I hate my neighbor because they're different, if you fall down the rabbit hole of I hate that guy because he's a different color, you've lost. You've lost. You've failed. Sorry. Again, you don't have to agree with me or do. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I told you this episode is going to be a little bit spicier than what you might have expected. So be it. I was digging down the rabbit hole of the tubes, actually. We're going to talk about YouTube here in a minute. I was digging down there looking for examples of road rage that leads to violence. And I'll tell you what, that's an endless list of videos on YouTube. Endless list. I did download one from, I believe it was in California, almost always in California. This guy in this little silver car was in the right lane. The guy in the pickup wanted to get over. The car wouldn't let the truck over. It was ridiculous. Finally, they stop at a stoplight. The silver car's in front of the pickup. They both get out of their cars. They both get out of their vehicles. Bravado. I'm better than you. I'm stronger than you. What happens? Well, nobody gets shot, thankfully. There's plenty of those out there. But the guy in the car has a knife. And the guy in the pickup thinks, I got this. He was probably a little bigger. One swipe. One slash of that small pocket knife, the dude just about lost his hand. All over, I wanted that lane and I'm going to take it. You see, here's the mindset issue that you have to get past. All of these examples fall into this mindset. If you're planning to be the lion, right? Be the sheepdog. You cannot have that attitude. You have to ditch the I'm a man, damn it, and I have what I want attitude. That has to go. That has to go. Because your bravado, your machismo, your bad attitude will get you killed. Will get you killed. Because you have no idea what the skill level is of the guy that you're planning to prove a point to. Gotta close some windows here. Gosh, shut up. Stupid computer. Attitude. Attitude is what you need to change. If you want society to be a better place, start with you. If you don't want to be the victim, don't put yourself in a place where you could be. I'm not saying you have to run from every altercation. I'm not saying you have to, I don't want to be a coward. That's not what this conversation is about either. And if that's where your mind went, you've lost. You win 100% of the gunfights that you're not involved in. How's that for a statistic for you? Huh? 100%. Don't go inserting yourselves in a place or in an instant that you are forced to use a life-saving tool. Yeah, bad guys will do bad things. Crooks will do things. Predators will predator, right? That's a given. But if you have the ability to leave, if you have the ability to stay in your pickup, if you choose to walk away instead of increasing the odds of something happening, that's a win. That concealed carry permit is not some shield. It's not a badge. It's not some magic talisman that gives you eagle powers. What it is something that says you have to change your lifestyle. You have to be a better citizen. You are now a shining example of what a gun owner is. And how you choose to exemplify yourself is how everyone will see. Mindset is huge. I'm not saying be a victim. No, be a monster. Be an absolute hellacious, just a beast. But you have to control that beast. You can't just let that beast free, or you're going to be somebody's best friend in prison. What's his name? Who's the Canadian dude? Oh, shoot. You know what I'm talking about. Oh, I can hear his face. I hear his face. Oh, shoot. You know what I'm talking about. He said, be a monster, right? Be a monster, but control that monster. Hey, this is Editor Steve. You can tell by the sweet shirt that I'm wearing. Jordan Peterson is that guy's name. I don't know why I couldn't remember it. Well, there you go. Jordan Peterson. Cool guy. Check him out. That is reality. That's who we should be as stewards of the Second Amendment. We're not out looking for trouble. You should never be out looking for trouble. But you should always be watching. You should always be ready. That is the mindset you need to adopt. And if trouble finds you, and you can't escape that trouble, that's when the monster comes out. But if you have the ability to stay in your frickin' truck and drive away, that's the route you should be taking. If you have the ability to stand up and walk away from verbal abuse instead of escalating a situation, that is how you need to be. But if the time comes when that predator has cornered you or your family, you unleash your monster and utilize your training in a prudent manner. Understand your state laws. Understand what you can and can't do. I'm not an attorney. This is not legal advice. If you're taking this as legal advice, you're stupid. Understand your state laws. Understand escalation of force. Understand how to de-escalate. Understand how each tool that you may be carrying works and when it should be deployed. You cannot stab somebody for hurting your feelings. It's not how it works. You need to adjust your mindset. Okay, well, that's it. That's what I'm going to talk about that. Let me take a breather. YouTube has been a real pain in the butt for 2A creators. I didn't realize that it was as bad as it is. I was watching, I want to say, Tactical Considerations and Mr. Guns of Gear. I think they both talked about this recently. The YouTube's is strangling out 2A related content. It's snuffing it out. They hate it. They hate anything related to shall not be infringed. In fact, just saying that probably already throttled this video's reach. Go watch the videos that they've created on this. Like the amount of views that come down from videos that they create now is unbelievable. Unbelievable. Like how much their viewership has been cut. And some of these guys, that's how they make a living. If you're at work and your boss said, "Hey, I'm docking your pay 40%," that'd be a problem, right? And that's a problem for what some of these guys are dealing with. These are OG guys, like been making videos for a long time, some good videos. But yeah, and I know it's really easy to say, Steve, why don't they just go on Rumble? Rumble's where it's at. Here's the thing: if that's what you just thought in your mind, then you have no idea that these guys have Rumble accounts. They're pushing videos to Rumble. I'm pushing videos to Rumble. And if you didn't know that, then obviously you're not on Rumble. And that's the problem, right? Rumble would be great. The amount of freedom that we have to produce stuff on Rumble is awesome. There's things about Rumble I really don't like. It's not as easy to use as YouTube, and that's the other issue. YouTube is the largest search engine in the world. You gotta be kidding me. YouTube is the king of the hill, right? That's the largest search engine in the world. That's how I fixed my well. My water went out. That's how I fixed my well. I learned how to do it by watching YouTube videos. There's a lot of things I learned from, like millions of other people throughout the world, learn off of YouTube. It's super handy. There's a lot of things I hate about YouTube. We're the product on YouTube, not the videos that we consume. So yeah, it's super frustrating. If you want to jump on Rumble, that'd be great. I've thought about doing some Rumble exclusive stuff. But I don't know. It's up to you guys. It's up to you guys to decide if you want to watch it or not. That's liking and subscribing and hitting that bell. Yes, it does help. It helps a bunch. Sorry, I'm making sure this computer's not freezing up on me. It helps a ton. I know my content's getting throttled. I'm a small fish in a very huge pond. But there are some big fish pulling out of that pond. I don't want to stop. Oh my gosh, it froze again. Let's talk about, man, I've lost my train of thought. Every time this computer I cannot tell you how frustrated I am about this computer. If you guys have any answers for me to help me keeping this system from freezing up, that would be immensely helpful. It might actually help my heart rate go down. Let me turn on my fans. Maybe it's overheating or some BS. I hate having those fans on. I don't know if you can hear them or not. But this is super annoying. Hey, it's Editor Steve again. In the beginning, if you heard me, well, closer to the beginning, I was going to talk about 4 things. And as you watch the rest of this video, you realized I didn't talk about the 4th thing because I was really frustrated with the computer last night. Really, really frustrated. I don't know if you could feel my passion. Anyway, the 4th thing I wanted to talk about, there's a video circulating around, and I think this happened a couple years ago, of a police department, and I believe it's in California. I'm not 100% sure where it's at. It doesn't matter where it's at, honestly, where it took place. But there's a dash cam video of this officer pulling into this, I assume, the parking structure of the police department. And through the dash cam video, you can see 2 officers standing in front of him, looking like they're unloading or loading something in their patrol cars. One of those 2 officers on the outside of the vehicle draws his firearm and points it at the officer inside the vehicle that's pulling into the parking structure. Screwing around, right? thinking it's funny, ha ha ha, pointing a gun, laughing, laugh about it. Well, the officer that's inside the vehicle that was pulling in the garage also pulls his gun and points it at the officer on the outside. Ha ha ha, funny joke, good joke. Well, officer inside the patrol car somehow has a negligent discharge. Bullet goes through the windshield and into what I think was the officer on the outside, his left shoulder, or close to his left shoulder. Really, really stupid. Stupid. Now, think about it. The anti-gun crowd is convinced that only police officers should have guns. They're the only ones responsible enough to carry. And then we see incidents like these. Yes, I know these are isolated. I'm not attacking police officers or police departments throughout the United States. I know. When I was working the range a lot, 2 different ranges that I'd run, it seemed that officers or agents, because I've dealt with both, they seem to have this apathy that develops because they carry that specific tool all the time. And for some reason, they get really comfortable with that tool. And they make really stupid choices bypassing the 4 general firearm safety rules. What are those 4 safety rules? If you guys remember, let's talk about them super fast. First of all, we're going to treat that gun as if it's loaded all the time, no exceptions, no matter what. Number 2, because we're treating that gun like it's loaded, we are never ever going to point it at something that we are not willing to destroy. That's the second one. Third one, we are going to keep our finger off of that trigger, outside of the trigger guard, on the side of the firearm, until we have made the conscious decision to fire. And then the fourth is, once we have made that determination, we need to know what our target is, what is in front of our target, and what is beyond our target. We need to know where that bullet is going to end up. Now, those general safety rules apply to everyone, despite their skill level, their knowledge, and their training. We should always be adhering to those safety standards. And if you talk to NRA training people, right, they have way more. But those are the 4 general and basic safety rules, the fundamental safety rules. And when we violate 1 or 2, or heaven forbid, 3 of those 4 rules, something bad is going to happen. And that's what we see in this video of the police officers. They I don't know what it is. They just feel like they're not going to press the trigger. They know better than everybody else. They carry a gun every day. And then they do something stupid, and then accidents happen. Avoidable things. I mean, think about if that officer had just been, pointed a little bit towards center mass of that guy, the officer that got shot. It could have been so much worse. There's no excuse for violating safety rules, no matter who you are. And I know I've had this conversation with cops before, actually, and they think it's kind of silly. And I know in heated situations, if they're in pursuit of a felon, if they get into a gunfight, sometimes segments of those rules get bypassed to eliminate a threat or save the public from other things. And I get that. Same with warfare. Sometimes those rules are bent, severely bent in some cases, and I understand that. But those are not things that happen often. That's not a general thing. I don't hate on cops. Don't get me wrong. I have some very good friends that are cops. Some of them are retired now. I guess that's what. No, I do support the police officers. There's some bad cops, sure, but we're not going to get into that. I don't want to get into that. I do want to tell you one more story related to the the general safety rules, just to put kind of an extra level of importance on it. When I was a kid, I'm going to leave the names out of these individuals. Hopefully you can follow along. When I was a kid, I had my best friend They lived in a single wide trailer. We were pretty poor growing up. They lived in a single wide. Him and his brothers shared a room. They had to clean their room. Right? And when we were kids, everybody said, I didn't really. My brother had a pellet gun. I never had one. But most people had pellet guns out in the middle of the country screwing around, right? Well, somehow, some reason, that pellet gun was charged and loaded. I don't know why. I don't think that was a commonplace. My friend's dad was pretty staunch about firearm safety too. Anyway, they were cleaning their room, and my buddy picked up the pellet gun, and I don't know if his thumb hit the trigger. I don't know if it got stuck on a shirt or whatever. I don't know exactly how it happened. This was a long time ago. I was probably 8-ish. Anyway, as that pellet gun went off, his older brother was downrange of that pellet gun. And his brother was reaching up, doing something, and that pellet gun, or that pellet, managed to find its way through, or between the ribs, and into his left ventricle of his heart. And he passed away. He passed away 20 minutes later. It was something. It was on the way to the hospital. Again, we lived in a very rural area, and so sometimes safety and EMS take a minute to get there. But he passed away on the way to the hospital. And my buddy obviously was never the same after that. We kind of think and look at BB guns and pellet guns flippantly. That, they can't hurt anybody. Well, I just gave you an example. An example that I remember very well. That disregarding or being apathetic to these safety rules can have real consequence. And heavy consequences. And my buddy, like I said, he was never the same after that. It was rough. It was a rough time. So please adhere to those safety rules. Don't be apathetic to them. You're not better than basic rules. If you can't follow basic rules, maybe you should consider. Man, my eyes are leaking. Maybe you should consider something else. Okay, let's keep going. Thanks. Bye. All right, let's jump to something else, a little more fun. Over on my shoulder, I think you can. Sorry, I gotta look on my screen up above my head here. See those? Oh, jeez, it's so weird. Those right there. Oh, and this right there. It's hard for me to point at that backwards and through the camera. So I built that table that's sitting on. And if you look closely, I'm looking at my screen up there. If you look closely, you will see what appears to be 2 totes, clear totes with some lids. And there's stuff inside those totes. Now, I've thought about doing this as a Rumble exclusive. I've thought about doing this as a Patreon exclusive, which I think both, the Patreon thing, I don't know. I do have a Patreon. I think I mentioned that before. Yeah, let's just ignore that for right now. My brain is malfunctioning. So you see on that table, there's those totes. Yes. Inside those totes are items that I want to do things with. Second Amendment related, but not things that throw things really, really fast. Instead, they are things that are choppy, sharp stuff. I want to try some things. I want to maybe break some things. But I've had a really hard time. And maybe this is where I can talk to you guys. What do you guys think? Do I do a S tier list that you're seeing like those all over the place now on YouTube videos where they rank them from whatever F tier to S tier? I thought about doing that before. Then I realized, that's kind of dumb. Then I made some other things to test them with. That table is made to chop on, to cut on, to beat the crap on. It's a butcher block top, so that's the point, is to cut things on. So do I do an S tier list for you guys? Do I do an individual like a episode, but not really. It's going to be longer than a short, but shorter than a regular episode. Do I do that with these sharp things? What kind of testing do you want me to put these things through? Instead of me like percolating over what I think I want to do, I should ask you guys, what would you want me to do with those things? Like, I have some ABS that I'm going to cut through that I think that might be interesting. Obviously, there's going to be something else that involves other things that are in the Second Amendment. I think would be a fun test as well. Throwing something at the blade of the sharp side of those blades at a very high speed might be kind of interesting. Maybe some trick shots, if you will. That could be fun to see edge retention. As you might have guessed, they're not very expensive. That's why I want to test them. And I've been actually really surprised at the quality, both really bad quality, and a couple of them are actually fairly nice and inexpensive. And it probably tells you where I bought them off of. I just thought it'd be interesting. I want to do something different. I want to do something that you guys would like to see and watch, and hell, maybe even participate in. Maybe what I do is say, hey, so-and-so from here said, try this with that. So that might be fun. You guys, you should give me the testing criteria. How about that? And we'll think of like 5 things that we should do to each one of those blades. A couple of them I actually really like. Like I said, there's some surprising quality on some of them. The other ones, no, not so much. Not much at all. Gas station knife quality, I guess, would be the easiest way to put it. I think that's where we should probably wrap things up. Look, I know I was spicy at the beginning of this episode. I really need you guys to understand why I was so wound up. And it's because I'm seeing things, in my perspective, things are going to get worse. How about that? That's probably the easiest way to put it. I'm looking at what's going on in England and in Ireland, and I see that could easily be a part of our lives as well. Especially as this things get thrown into religion or to the race camps. People are passionate about that kind of stuff. And that's why I'm saying it feels like it's very deliberate that we're being thrown into these arguments. We gotta stay outside of those arguments, right? You got to be logical thinkers that can actually communicate your thoughts in a civil manner without resorting to violence. But I really think there's a lot of people that want us to fall into violence, and we can't do that. We have to be better. If violence finds us, then we must be violent back. Yes, I agree. But we don't need to go searching for that violence. That's a stupid idea. That's why I'm so passionate about this. The time is now. You need to find a network of individuals that you trust. I think we've touched on this before. This is highly important, and it is the point of it's vital. It's vital. Now is the time to find a group of individuals that you can trust completely, if you know what I mean. And then once you establish that group of friends that trust each other, that can support each other, have each other's back, I guess we could say that too. You need to spend a lot of time with those individuals. You need to work with those individuals, do service with those individuals, go on a hike, go camping, learn some skills. You need to do that with a group of these individuals. So if at some point it's absolute chaos, there's somebody that you can trust, that you have a network of people that have various skills that can support the group together. It's going to be tough. I really, really think it's going to get tough. It's important. I think I hit on. Did I? I told you I've started this video so many times, and then the thing keeps crashing. I think I talked about TikTok Shop, eBay Shop, Patreon, website, rangemindedpodcast.com. I'm pretty sure I've talked about all of that stuff. If not, I just did again. It's all going to be linked in the description of the video. I'm going to do my best to give a good description of this video. If you like what I'm talking about, comment. I want to hear your comments. I want to hear your thoughts. If you choose to just attack, you can move along. I don't have time to worry about that. But if you want to have a discussion, yeah, cool. If you have an idea of how we're going to test those things in a fun and exciting manner, put your ideas down below. There are a lot. There's a lot of them. I spent a little bit of cash digging. I think there's even more coming. Don't tell my wife. If you have an idea of how to test those, that'd be great. I think it'd be fun. Again, I've got some plastic I want to try and cut. Yeah, there's a lot. I had a lot of ideas, but I'd like to hear your ideas on what you think we should do. It's definitely cheaper than testing firearms at the moment. And it probably won't get squashed. But I digress. You can find me on Rumble, like we talked about before. It's there, Range Minded Podcast. All the socials are linked in the video as well. There's lots of ways to support, and I appreciate any of the support. You can find me on social media way too often. Actually, I pulled back a lot off of social media. Yeah, I had to. It was getting too much. But you can still find me there once in a while. Range Minded on Twitter or X. Range Minded Podcast everywhere else. It's around. I'll be around. You guys are awesome. I really do appreciate you. Listen, I said that again. But it is... We're approaching 250 years of this great nation. Awesome. Absolutely awesome. In fact, I have some t-shirts that celebrate 250th anniversary of the United States. TikTok and Range Minded on eBay. Shameless plug again. 250 years is not that long. I know you think, well, we're 250 years old. That's pretty awesome. We're a pretty young country, folks. And it's about this time period in a republic that they get tested. If you understand history, it's that 200-ish year mark that things start getting a little dicey. And we're there, folks. We are there. Maybe by design, maybe by default. I don't know. Nonetheless, just be ready. Stay calm. Right? Don't look for a fight. Don't start fights. Don't belittle and ridicule and make fun of people. That's not a grown-up thing to do. You should be a grown-up. You're probably over the age of 18. Act like it. If you're a dude, it's time to start being a man, acting like a man, doing manly things, fixing stuff, fixing your cars. Learn how basic mechanics works. Obviously, I don't know how to use a stupid computer. That's apparently, I don't know. Is that manly? Speaking of manly, June is Pride Month, which is interesting. Many states around in the United States are having huge events for Pride Month. I believe it's called the World Cup. So that's interesting as well. So you guys are awesome. I want you to do 3 things for me. You already know what they are. You need to stay free. Stay free. Whatever it takes to be a free American, do it. You need to stay armed so you can protect yourself and your family and your loved ones when the predators come around. You also need to stay range-minded. All right? Okay, now go and do. Don't do dumb things. You guys are splendid. Goodbye.